Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel where today we are doing another recent reads because I have been reading so many short things for the Magical Readathon, and that means that I have been flying through them, so I have a lot to talk about. So much so that I'm actually going to try to film 2 of these videos tonight, but we'll see how that goes. But for the first batch of books that I want to talk about in this video, we are going to start with Magic Claims by Ilona Andrews. And this is the second book in the Wilmington Years series, which is an adult urban fantasy series. Just a quick note, the Wilmington Years series technically is a spin-off from the Kate Daniels series, but it truly is a standalone. You do not have to read Kate Daniels. Of course, if you do read Kate Daniels first, you're going to get a little bit more depth of understanding, a little bit more background, but it truly does stand alone. And I would completely understand if you do not want to read the Kate Daniels series first, because it's 10 books long and the first couple are very, very rough. So you really could just jump in here and still very much enjoy it. But it is, like I said, adult urban fantasy. We are following our main character of Kate and our other main character of Cran, who is her husband. And they are living in an alternate version of the United States where magic comes in waves, and magic only works when those waves are here, I guess is the way to say that. But Kate and Corinne have kind of been laying low the last couple of years, but a town comes to them and petitions them to help. This town is now being subjugated by an entity that lives in the woods and is demanding an annual tribute that they do not want to pay anymore. And anytime somebody tries to leave the town because they don't like this tribute, within a couple of days they sicken and then they die. So they can't leave, but they still have to pay this tribute that they do not want to pay. So they are asking for help, and Kate and Corinne have to decide whether or not they're going to help. I really like this book. I like the Kate Daniels series quite a bit, and there were some particular things about it that I liked that came up in this series as well. I love the world building. They don't do as much world building in this book. You definitely should read the first to kind of get a feel for the land and this world in general. But I like being back in this world because I like the world building. I also really like Kate and Corinne, and I feel like the thing that this book did really, really well, that is the first book in this series I don't think quite landed, was this feels like getting back to what makes Kate a great character. And we're back to her roots and kicking butt, and it was just really fun. And so this was it was great. The other thing that I think made it really good is that this one does not have any perspectives from children. The first book had a point in time where we switched to a kid's perspective, which I did not like, but we did not have that in this book, and that was so much better. So yeah, I just really thoroughly enjoyed my time with this book, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. And then I picked up Hollow by Shannon Waters, Branden Boyer-White, and then illustrated by Bernice Nell. And this is a young adult graphic novel that is not a retelling per se, but it takes place in Sleepy Hollow. We are following our main character of Isabella, or Izzy Crane, as she moves into Sleepy Hollow and looks around the town, and the town has embraced the Headless Horseman as their mascot and is part of everything that they do. And she's like, this is so weird. But she's trying not to say too much because she really does want to fit into her new high school. But one day she has an encounter with the Headless Horseman himself, and it's not quite what she thought it was going to be. And the story goes from there. This was adorable. So we have our kind of Ichabod Crane stand-in Izzy. We have our Katrina Van Tassel stand-in with Kat, whose name is Katrina. We have our Brom Bones stand-in, and I don't remember his name. It's weird. It's a weird name. And they are trying to figure out this mystery. And I love their dynamic. I love their individual personalities and the fact that they do have these individual personalities. I love that our Brom Bones stand-in is like the ultimate himbo. He is such, he's so fun. Like, I just really like him. I think that the illustrations are actually, and the coloring and everything is actually really nice. Like, I think it really adds to the story itself. The plot line is interesting. It was entertaining. Honestly, this was just, it was really fun, and it was a quick read and a fun read, and I had a good time with it. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then I picked up A Spindle Splintered by Alix E. Harrow. And this is an adult fantasy novella, and we are following our main character of Zinnia, who is living with a terminal illness. Now, she's known that she has this, like, she's had it since she was born, so she's always known. And she knows that the people who have this particular illness do not make it to their 22nd birthday. And guess what? She has just turned 21. So she is grappling with a lot of feelings about her impending death. And until one day, I think it's at her birthday party even, she touches a spindle and it teleports her to another world where there is a sleeping beauty getting ready to prick her finger on this spindle, and Zinnia saves her. And now she's got to figure out how to break the curse for this other sleeping beauty, as well as get back to her own world. And the story goes from there. And this was really interesting. Now, I do not have a terminal illness, but it felt pretty realistic how Zinnia was handling her own impending mortality, and just dealing with it, and how she's processing the fact that she's always known that she's going to die, and how that has impacted her friends and her family and the burdens that she carries because of it. I think that was really well done. I think that the world itself is interesting, like how the reasons why Zinnia was able to travel to this other world, and like the theories and that kind of thing, I think was handled really, really well. And I love the idea that there's so many other worlds with so many other sleeping beauties in them. Like, I just think that that's ultimately very fascinating. Yeah, I really liked this. It was a good time, and kind of surprisingly so. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then I picked up Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Wrede. And this is a young adult, well, no, sorry, it's not young adult. It's in like an upper elementary school into middle grade series where we're following our main character, a Princess Cimarron. I think is how you pronounce her name. I have literally never heard this pronounced out loud. But our Princess Cimarron is not like other princesses. She likes to do things like learn fencing and Latin instead of things like embroidery and dancing. And when it comes time for Princess Cimarron to do the very next proper princess thing and marry a very proper but very boring prince, she decides that she would rather run away. And in doing so, finds herself a dragon and makes a deal with this dragon so that she may become the dragon's princess. And the story goes from there. This is a little bit of an older book, I believe, because I remember reading it when I was a kid. So this obviously is a reread for me. Yeah, it was this is like published in 1990. So this is older, but it is still so, so good. Genuinely, I love our main character. She is clever, and clever in a way that kids can follow the cleverness, which is so much fun and something that I really appreciated when I was a kid. I like the general storyline and how it goes. I like how quick paced it is, and like I love watching our main character deal with all the various problems that come up that completely make sense, but like, especially as a kid, I was just like, oh, I never would have thought of that as being a problem. But yeah, it's just really, really fun. And so I had a great time rereading this, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then I picked up Gem and the Holograms Infinite by Kelly Thompson, and it is illustrated by Stacey Lee, Jen St. Ong, and Jen Hickman. So this is not part of like the main storyline of Gem and the Holograms. This is like a one-off 6-issue kind of arc in and of itself. It's self-contained. But in it, we're following Gem and the Holograms as they are contacted by somebody from an alternate dimension. And this person is begging them to come to their dimension to help save their world, where the hologram technology has gotten out and made everything horrible. And so the holograms decide to go ahead and follow this person and help out. And also, like, the rival band, the Misfits, also end up going along because they see all of this happening as well. And the story goes from there. This one I have very mixed feelings about because I really genuinely enjoy Gem and the Holograms and all of the characters. So I had a really good time being back with all of these characters and watching them integrate into a band, and just like, I thought that was really great. However, like the storyline itself didn't really totally feel like we really lived up to the potential of that storyline. Like, we just didn't totally do anything with it. Like, it was fine, it just could have been better, is like the thing where I kept seeing that. And we didn't totally do anything really with the characters, or like any major like relationship development and progression. Like, we just didn't do a whole lot in this. And so it felt like more like you have to have something, right? We have to have the character development or the relationship development, or we have to have like progression of an overarching plot line, or you have to have progression of like the individual plot line or something. And like, it feels like we just didn't have much of any of those in this. So even though I really enjoyed being with these characters, I didn't really feel like I had a whole lot to hold on to. And the other part is, I don't actually like the lead singer of the Misfits. So this other band that was in there, like, there's a character that I specifically do not like. And so it was like every time she was on the page, I was just like not totally thrilled to be reading this. But then I would get back to my other characters and I'm like, oh, I love them. And like, I like seeing what they're doing. So it's like, none of it was bad. It just felt like this particular volume just didn't quite live up to what it could have been. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I do think that the art was pretty good. Like, these are artists that have worked with Kelly Thompson before on this particular series, so I knew what to expect going in, and it was, yeah, I liked that. I liked that part of it. But overall, I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. Good because I love the Gem and the Holograms, but not quite as good as I wanted it to be. But that is it for this video. That is what I have to update you on. Just as a quick preview for the next one, I did have, unfortunately, a little bit of a string of things that I did not love nearly as much, but we'll get into it in the next video. But that is it. So if you have any thoughts or feelings about any of the books that I have mentioned in this video, please leave me a comment down below. But that's it. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!